just get sent straight into ban pick, which means people don't have to wait and stare at us because they don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. No one wants that, Mazel.
We got to get back to this boxing match. Like, it has literally felt like constant fighting for both games up to this point. I'm hoping we get to continue that in round 3 tonight, as maybe Up is taking a little bit of a darker tone going into boxing. But Ultra Prime on the blue side will be banning away the Talon, the Ziggs, and the Xin Zhao. First time we see the Xin Zhao ban. LGD on the red side continue to ban a lot of the same champions, which is TF, Jinx, Aphelios.
So what we're saying is this is the Thrilla in Manila. Ali versus Frazier 3. They're 1-1. You know Ali wins in the end. I don't know which one of these guys is Ali. I don't want to say because I feel like we will ruin it. No. Okay, I'll decide after draft, maybe. I don't want to decide right now because I feel like I might just biasly go against LGD for looking worse. When, you know what? They won a game, so
they did.
I don't want to count them out. Corky does come out to the excitement of absolutely no one. Ooh,
you're the one that's excited about that. That's like I heard it in your voice. Crying, not changing it up today at least, as third time's the charm, I guess, for the Corky. The pretty much instant lock-in of the Renekton Jhin combo for LGD, though.
I like the Renekton. Very strong on the top side, sets up for the AP junglers to come out, potentially Diana or Nidalee Angle to be able to pair with that one. We also noticed a flex pick can go in the mid lane. We saw UNB playing that with Tarzan the other day. Ultra Prime, though, they do get their hands on the Caitlyn once again, and we get a luck. Shall see bring out another champion where he can try and show his stuff with his skill shots. It does open up for Karma. I do expect that one to be locked in as it is. You can contest for that push down to bot side. You have those mantra Qs to just be such a massive annoyance to the Caitlyn Lux on the opposite side. So for Ultra Prime, heavily indexed into range right now. Everything is going to be about kiting and playing far back. LGD, I think their comp still has wiggle room since they do have the Renekton in the top side, and Karma can use her E to just speed up the team and try and close the gap to get on Ultra Prime's members. Yeah,
and I'm liking this for Ultra Prime, right? Game 2 definitely sent them reeling a little bit, but going back to what worked for them in game number 1, keeping a lot of the long-range standoff kind of style that you were highlighting for them, but with a little bit of difference, right? With the Lux instead of the Morgana. So definitely want to keep an eye out on how that bot lane goes, especially into that Jhin and Karma combo. But now going into the second phase, LGD banned away the Jarvan and the Olaf. A lot of focus against Hacker. And Yaji's LeBlanc banned away as well as the Nidalee against Shadow.
I want to see LGD all in to a heavy engaged style competition. I don't think they'll be able to win out in a battle of poke with the champions that Ultra Prime have selected so far. We already highlighted the Diana is what I would like to see come in. She indexes into that. She has set up with the Renekton. You go in with the Moonfall. If LGD's champions, what they've locked in so far, get on top of Ultra Prime, they should win fights.
And it's funny, we see the exact things you kind of laid out for both these teams, right? You've got a long-range gun, stay away from me for Ultra Prime. You've got a close-up double-edged sword for LGD so far. So it's working out beautifully, Lyric, as we do get the Lee Sin locked in for Hacker. I'm definitely looking for a redemption play on that one in game number 3 here.
Sometimes, Giselle, I know what I'm talking about. Those years coaching now were many years ago. I've lost all the binged brainness I used to have.
Nah, don't you even say that about you. You've got one of the biggest brains I know, Mr. Jordan Lyric Corby.
I think that just shows how, little friends you have. Oh, Giselle roasted.
Wow. All right. We're going to move past that while I just get the fire extinguisher from my kitchen real quick. We do have the compositions lined out. We get the Gragas. So very comfort style for at least the solo laners of Ultra Prime. But on the other side, our final pick was the Camille, which has been banned away.
So I said I'd predict who is Ali and who's Frazier after the draft. I have no idea. Because I feel like both teams index into like one straight area so heavily, which I love. I love that LGD didn't try to match poke with poke, 5v5 with 5v5. They're like, hey, we're just going to keep going down the engage route. They have the Camille and the Hextech ultimatum, which I think needs to be the game changer. The fact that you can securely lock down one of these members, you can't be disengaged, will be huge. For the side of Ultra Prime, though, they have the peel coming in from the Gragas and the Lee Sin kick. I think so far what we've seen in LPL, this style of composition does win more. I will say I slightly favor Ultra Prime because of that, especially if their bot lane can find the same level of domination they did in Game 1.
Yeah, that's where you're definitely looking at Hacker to renew that focus towards bot side. Maybe not let the top side influence be influencing. But especially, again, trying to set the example of snuffing out shadows for those invades that he likes to pull off and having some of that yourself on the Lee Sin. But as we do get ready to get into game, this is our last game of the first series of the night. It is the Spring Festival Super Weekend, and we've got action aplenty. Both teams here, LGD and Ultra Prime, looking for their first series win of the spring split, and it's all come down to this. The boxing match between these two teams is coming down to the wire, and we already got it going, Lyric. Perfectly timed, a 5v5 at 40 seconds in, and it's Ultra Prime who take the lead.
And we see ZS going with the body slam to lock numerous members down, and then the return damage from Ultra Prime is able to come out, especially when you have Corki, who does start E at level 1, so you're getting a ton of AoE damage on the opposite side. Lux as well, incredibly strong level 1 champions. Xiaoxi channeling his inner Hung. We come onto the screen, we see a fight starting. His flash is already down, and it's going to go right here. Walking forward aggressively, is forced to flash away, but BAM! ZS hits the body slam, and Ultra Prime able to turn it down, especially with that E coming up from Brian.
And Hacker gets a kill under his belt. Everybody else gets an assist. That's the kind of lead you're hoping for. 500 gold at sub 2 minutes. Not too shabby. But it's still, keeping the pressure on. That's something we saw that I really liked from Ultra Prime in game number 1 is when they had a lead, they ran with it. They kept the priority in lanes, and they continued to push objectives and forcing LGD out of a lot of those. Meanwhile, forcing the bot lane fight to get a binding connecting, and Jin Zhao just has to commit because he's going to die to Elk. And Elk has so much damage right now. He's got the headshots proccing because of the bush as well. Eric able to put a decent amount of damage back, especially with that fourth shot. The light binding does not connect. Eric wants these kills, but can't get the bouncing grenade over there. You need to be very careful. No jungler influence this way, though. Both junglers up towards the top side, so this is purely a 2v2 on the bot side, but now a 2v1 in favor of potentially Eric, who's able to poke down Xiaoxi and Elk a decent amount. The trading will continue.
Eric actually having some nice sidestepping there, trying to buy time for Jin Zhao to get in here. I honestly wouldn't have been surprised if he would have tried to flash fourth shot when they were initially very low before a lot of those health pots were able to come into play. Didn't go for that in the end. And still, despite the fact that Eric was able to sidestep all the skill shots right, Ultra Prime able to find more kills in the bottom lane. We hit on that their win condition is very mirrored to game 1. Let your bot lane be able to try and win out. I think this time around you do need to have jungle influence though, because Karma does neutralize a lot of the poke and push coming out from the Ultra Prime bottom lane. So I'd like to see Hacker have more influence in this bot lane in game 1. Xiaoxi.
Eric flash! Fourth shot gets it. He had to burn the cleanse from that light binding, but it sets it up beautifully for LGD's comeback onto the rift. Now Hacker wants to punish the bot lane of LGD, but won't find it.
Shadow also here to cover, I think is a pretty nice move by him. Yeji even hovering down. So Ultra Prime realize they can't go over this because they see that Yeji did push out mid and is hovering towards that bot side. LGD now going to get the reset that they want. And Xiaoxi came in, guns a-blazing, but giving a little bit back. Now gold in the bottom lane completely even to where Elk did have a bit of an advantage before. And if we look at the rest of the map, Fearness doing completely fine up in the top side. ZS doesn't pose any 1v1 threat, though I might regret saying that after the solo kill we saw in game 1. And now potential 3-man play in mid. Both supports looking for this though, since Jin Zhao did get the reset.
Yeah, I'll see on the roam timer first, but neither support will really find what they're looking for. First potential jungle skirmishing that we have here is a bunch of bodies, as you're mentioning, in the mid lane, but everybody kind of tiptoeing around the situation, right? Nobody wanting to fully commit at this point. And from the side of Ultra Prime, I feel like you're fine with that, right? You've already established that you've been doing pretty good in this game so far, and you can continue to do so.
Yeah, Ultra Prime, I think, are the ones who don't want to opt into these types of skirmishes, right?
Exactly.
There's a Renekton on the opposite side. He loves these type of fights because they also completely hit the nail on the head. And now for Ultra Prime, it's going to be about tangenting back into this bottom lane. Again, they aren't able to just really push them under tower like we saw in game 1, so the dynamic definitely does change. Both bot lanes have been willing to play quite aggressively, though. So I feel like we're going to continue to see 2v2 kills. For Ultra Prime, for the comp, I think we're waiting for the 8-minute mark to get that package online and have some of these ultimates up. And for LGD, it's the same. You need the Moonfall on Shadow before you really want to commit him into these skirmishes. You want the Hextech ultimatum, then you have the lockdown and burst that you need to win those fights.
Got to get those setups for you, especially for LGD. Get the lane gank unsuccessful by Shadow. We'll get his reset off. Both junglers back onto the map, back onto the bot side of the map, that is.
The bottom side of the map, Zell, is where it's all about. We don't care about top lane anymore. Dragons were added. Items and champions were buffed. League of Legends is played every day. Yeah, League of Legends did happen. And now, for Ultra Prime, they have control of bot, they have control of mid. They're going to look to get some vision down. I don't think they can look for a play in bot, so they're going to make their way into the enemy jungle. Oh, looks like they are. Shadow not going to spot this out.
Shadow is there just in case. Yeah, they had the control ward in the bush there. Does spot out them coming around the horn. Yeah, G finally making his way down from mid lane, and they do dissuade Ultra Prime from making the dive play.
I told you, Mazel, you started to doubt me, but I knew a play couldn't be made when a jungler is right there, and there's a Renekton who could walk 5 steps and be in the play. So LGD, they do stop that one. They do buy some time. And at this pace of the game, it's strange to say, but I feel like both teams are decently happy. For Ultra Prime, when we talked about, hey, you have this Corki, you have this Caitlyn, you don't really want a lot of these messy skirmishes. Cool, we're sitting back, we're farming, we're scaling. For LGD, they still have some of those key ultimates for the setup that we hit on. So a bit more chillin', a bit more vibing is what they're looking for. Herald will be up in 1 minute, though, so it'll set up for both sides. LGD will have a chance to finally find a skirmish, and Shadow should be level 6 at that point. And for Ultra Prime, we'll have a package, which, funnily enough, is equal to 5 other champions' ultimates.
I love this saltiness I hear in your voice when we talk about Corki. But we'll do see Hacker
Hysterics had Aphelios, I have Corki.
There you go, I like it. Oh, Fearness misses the hook shot, gets ZS's flash because he thought he was going to connect it. The cast gets dodged out by the Hextech ultimatum, and Fearness almost gets away with his life. He does!
He does!
What an outplay! Fearness!
Yeah, doesn't connect with it. Able to get away. Man, Ultra Prime shaking their heads at that one. Fearness buying time, and now, I mean, heck, that's a potential window from the side of Ultra Prime down. Will be able to get in lane in time for Herald, and we're going to see what happens here. Fearness has almost no mana as well, which makes this even more amazing. It is hilarious that a mistake saves his life.
It wasn't a mistake, Lyric. It's bait, all right? We're in the LPL here.
Hey, honestly, you know what? I'll give it to you. I'll say Fearness shot that into the brush knowing it wouldn't connect to make him think he'll do it. Who knows? I can't know. We don't have his pro.
We're just going to go with it. 2v2 is getting fully committed on the headshot. Is enough from Elk. The damage delayed, but it doesn't matter. Elk finishes the deal, and they have won this 2v2. The light binding into the headshots. Built over Peacemaker. No, it's the ace in the hole that does it.
Ultra Prime's bot lane delivering once again, and they're also looking to 3-man on the top side. Packages up.
I was getting sad because I thought we weren't going to get action, but here we go. 9 minutes in, another kill to Ultra Prime as they make it 5-1 in totality. The Rift Herald fight will ensue. Yaji has arrived, pops the dominance, flashes there onto Yaji, or onto Cryin, but it's already shadowed down in the pit, and the rest of LGD have to run away. Does the root connect for Jinzhao? It does, and they survive, but they lose the Rift Herald and the kills.
This game quickly swinging in favor of Ultra Prime. Now almost a 3K gold advantage. Dragon's still up as well. They can easily pivot down towards the bottom side. Maybe drop this Herald, push that tower and get Dragon. Just, it's a ton of options available to them, but we're going to go straight into this replay. Oh, it's actually a replay of bot. Binding does hit. Straight into the trap. Just a really nice, easy combo able to land. Flash even wasted in the end from Jinzhao. And I love this. Xiaoxi getting forward. Actually set up
That
by Elk.
trap
And
set
by
up.
Yeah, and it's not even really too many options for him to go, right? If he walks on the other turret, he will take more damage. Here, though, LGD posturing the fight. I think Fearness walking a bit too far forward, because LGD have two options here. I think either one, you just instantly bring Renekton over, pull the trigger, Hextech Ultimatum, jump on the Corki. You're going to fight on the package, but maybe you can win if you burst him out. Second, play it slower, give time for Jinzhao to follow up on the play, and hope you can have numbers advantage and try to win out. They kind of did a halfway in between of Yeji still wanting to push out mid, and Fearness and Shadow committing into it a little bit too soon.
Yeah. I will say Fearness, it was really impressive. Connected that super long range hook, but the cast came out. Beautifully timed from ZS to deny it. So I think that Ultra Prime just kind of firing on all cylinders right now. Definitely don't want to go down crying, if you will, from that game number 2.
You know,
Was that too much lyric? Did I break lyric? I think I broke
that.
lyric.
That was maybe. You know what? No, Mazel, that was phenomenal.
All
You know
right,
what
I
else was
like it. I
phenomenal?
like it.
Ultra Prime playing around Elk, because this team is quickly getting an identity of kind of being a, you know, they have one giant missile, which is their AD carry. If you set him up, he will take over the game. Oh, ZS.
Nice.
Oh, Fearness held the hook.
Really nicely done.
Oh wait,
for
he's
Fearness to
still.
get away.
They might be able to find return kills with Shadow waiting in the wings. Oh, looks like Hacker actually not going to commit to this. Hacker's like, boys, I'm out. We're going to mid. We're going to drop this Herald and get some money on our Corki.
So I will point out, like, I am actually very impressed at the reservedness that there was in this game, that there is, right? Yes, we have gotten 7 kills. There was that little moment of serious explosion. But for a while, right, nobody, at least Ultra Prime, weren't looking to take fights. But now LGD are turning that around and forcing them to take fights as ZS dies in the top lane. But the point stays the same. The fact that LGD were taking it very slow. They realize they need to pick up the pace now.
Ooh, let's see Hacker his
that's
kick.
a nice move. Onto Eric, too. Kicks away Jinzhao. The 90 caliber net does not connect, and Eric survived.
And not able to land the skill shots necessary to find the kill. They wanted to answer back for the play on top side. Hacker starting his oh, that was
spark.
close. LGD might look to turn it, or maybe just try and push them off. For Hacker, though, think about it. He started this play on the top side of the map, and it's worked his way all the way down from that initial gank.
Yeah, G tries to go in to stop them, has a pop to Dominus, and does not survive the ace in the hole yet again. Strikes true.
Yeah, I don't know if that should work like that, but Yeji is dead. Plates are down. Mazel, for LGD, really nice hold up in top side. They make the play that we were hitting on from early game, right? Wait past your level 6 point, Hextech Ultimatum into the Moonfall. Bam, you're going to find kills. Wanting to cover their play on bot side as well. Just, again, a lot of small positioning mistakes coming out from LGD that are leading to these kills going over to the side of up. Game is still close, so I don't think LGD are out by any means, especially now that we're going to get to the point where it is going to be all about 5v5s in front of the Dragons.
Yeah.
For LGD, if they can land the big multi-man combo, they will win fights. Problem is, Ultra Prime do have a decent bit of mobility. The only easily caught-out player should be Xiaoxi.
Finding those pickouts, finding that stability is going to be key for LGD to get back into this game, right? There's only 3,000 gold in the deficit. It's been a little bit chaotic of an early game for them, but that team composition, when executed right, will be able to put down Ultra Prime. But it's all about that setup that you're kind of alluding to. And we'll have a little while till the next Dragon, until the next objective for either of these teams.
Now, the objective right now will just kills, trying to get some more of these turrets because turret plating is going down. For the side of LGD, we've already hit on it, is going to be all about the top lane because this is where your Camille is. ZS still not tanky. For Ultra Prime, I think you're looking to go bot on the opposite end. I wonder if Hacker will sniff this out and cover top because ZS's wave is in a pretty bad spot.
It's trying to fade it out at least here, but ZS to realize what could possibly be going down. Shadow actually stops the back at first to see if ZS is going to commit, but does not do so. And for me, the next few moments are going to be key, right? And this pick for Elk has been insane. Meanwhile, they just get the combo. Yes, Eric is there to save Jin Zhao's life, but he has to back away now. Cryin comes to lane with the package right in time for the objective fight as well, Lyric.
And for Ultra Prime, oh, they're actually just going to commit on the Yeji.
Oh my god, how does that even work beautifully like that? Hacker, that's some big brain right there. Meanwhile, Elk gets the tower on bot side. Things are going all Ultra Prime's way.
Does that mean you have two very different definitions of beautifully? That was a little bit of a mess coming out from the side of Ultra Prime. You know, I'll give that to you. There was definitely a lot of beauty and chaos, and for Ultra Prime, that beauty and chaos turns into their first dragon of the game. At first, I thought they were to commit down towards the bottom side because it did force out those summoners, but speaking of bottom side, Jin Zhao having to be safe, and a blue buff even being stolen away from LGD's jungle.
And like poor Yaji in that situation, literally like has some ideas of what he wants to do, but has no control over his character. It felt like because they were just forcing him into those situations. But it's a symptom of what we've seen of Ultra Prime this game, right? They are just ruling the map, it feels like, and as we do get a little breakdown of that play, we'll see the intricacies of what happened, the beautiful chaos, if you will, here.
Now, Package knocking him out, instantly kicks and lands the Q, and it looks like the E damage as well going through right as he was able to flash over that wall. So, sadly for Yeji, everything still was able to land. It was a bit messy at first, but Ultra Prime make it happen. Hey, Ultra Prime instantly tangented from bot side into mid while we were in the replay, forced LGD off the Rift Herald that they did start up, and now that they've transferred their bot lane to top side, they're the team that has full control over this objective. Yeah. TP not up for Zedish just yet, so if LGD know that, they have a very small window where they've man advantage on top side, so it's going to be all about how well they've been tracking summoners though.
A lot of bodies for LGD up top here, but for me, it's really, LGD trying to play to their win conditions but not finding success. But Ultra Prime, a bit of a deja vu from game number 1. They knew what they needed to do. They drafted a poke composition that they feel comfortable with. Stand away from me. And then they executed pretty much the same, it feels like, in both games, 1 and 3, where Elk is dominating on this Caitlyn. It's something you're going to have to second guess letting through from here on out.
Yeah, after this series, there will be question marks. I think certain teams will probably be a little bit cocky and be like, it was just against LGD. We don't care. We won't ban it. But I think such a good performance, you got to be scared, especially the performance they put up against other bot lanes, right? We hit on it earlier. Ultra Prime took a game off of EDG in their last series. They 2v2 killed their bot lane, and this is a bot lane that has to be feared.
It absolutely is, and you see the fear in Fearness there as he's getting poked out, trying to leave. Here comes the TP now, double TP from the side of LGD. They want to make a play onto Hacker and Xiaoxi, and they get onto Xiaoxi. Elk caught out on the side here too. Hacker is still in the middle of the fight, and here come the reinforcements for Ultra Prime. The curtain call on the side is not enough. Missing the shots is Eric, and 4 members strong from Ultra Prime surge through. Cryin, trying to land the rockets on the backside of the fight, but won't do it.
LGD just completely all-inning onto Hacker. They did get some summoner spells initially trying to find engages on Cryin and Xiaoxi, but I think Elk looked like a pretty premier target, maybe afraid of the damage they'd be taking while making their way up there. Now for the side of Ultra Prime, going to be able to take more objectives on the map. Elk going to get some damage in the top. Looks like Cryin and ZS wanting to try and punish in mid. I would say this would be a potential dive angle coming out from ZS, but Eric does have both summoners available.
And all 3 towers now down for LGD on the outer side, and a lot of gold influx into Ultra Prime's pockets.
And we see here the double TP coming out. They instantly jumped and all in onto Xiaoxi. I feel like at this point in time, as LGD, you turn because Lee Sin's on you, but you should probably just continue to run up, try and all in onto Elk, and win the fight through that way. Cryin will be able to get a decent amount of damage onto you, but you blow every summoner onto the Lee Sin. Elk able to then get in range of the fight. Cryin continuously bombarding those rockets. It's like, hey, you can understand what LGD were looking for, but utilizing your big combo onto one kick, especially such a low-value champion, is definitely not the success to winning in fights. Because Ultra Prime should almost always win in extended fights. For LGD, it is about bursts. It's about being able to take them out at the very start and by winning extended fights with man advantages.
Yeah, the trigger pull for LGD. That's where you're looking at Shadow to really have that under his belt. Him going in, getting that engage, getting the catch out, getting the big moonfall. That's what you need for LGD. Let's see how much damage Eric takes. Almost half his health bar from a single ace in the hole. Meanwhile, the package used by Cry, and Jin Zhao feels like he's taking an ace in the hole in the face, but he will not get Jin Zhao. The moonfall comes through just as we speak about it. Shadow able to get one kill for himself. Dominus popped by Yaji, but he gets kicked over the wall. And again, Yaji just getting displaced, but he's got teammates this time, and Hacker does not make it out alive.
Dragon was coming up in 15 seconds.
Oh, the flash body
slam.
slam.
ZS!
He does get Shadows. Zanya's at least, but Elk gets the kill clean up. Now LGD have gone forward. The curtain call's hitting, but Elk is still alive. Is he going to survive? No. Fearness helps him get the kill, helps the rest of the team. Eric's flashing forward, Gale Force there, and don't call it a comeback, baby. But LGD are back in this game.
I'm just so confused, Mazel, at what Ultra Prime are looking to do. They had about 30 seconds till Dragon. Packages up there, aggressively looking for picks in top side, even wasting those cooldowns. Cool, let's say you found the pick you were looking for. Now you don't have that key ability for Dragon. You have to start transitioning over. Death timers might be quick enough on like a support right now where you can go over. I just don't get it. We're going to see here, Ultra Prime, like we talked about, look at the rest of their members. Moving towards bot side to set up for that Dragon, putting everything onto Jin Zhao. Give Shadow an easy angle, and then Hacker now is like, okay, I need to try and get away. Yeji comes in, kicks him into Baron Pit. Guess what? Camille is there, and I don't care about the execution of this play. I don't think Ultra Prime should have even been looking for it.
They look back too, right? They were out and they tried to get Shadow back as he was getting transitioned in, and that is just the go button for LGD, it felt like. And that's the target calling we wanted to see, right? Going back to the conditions, we wanted to see LGD finding back into this game about having clear decision-making, target calling, and execution on it. And they caught somebody out the side, they executed on it, and here we are with LGD at least nudging themselves back into this game.
I love your positivity. Their target selection of, hey, 2 people walked into our jungle by themselves.
There's the moonfall,
Shadow fights it.
Oh no, Shadow's just dead. Hextech ultimatum on the side though. Fearness is all by himself. The rest of the team is now backing him up, and this is a front-to-back fight that LGD feel confident taking. The curtain call now connects onto ZS. There's the final spark, but it's not a lot of damage. Fearness still alive as well as the rest of LGD's front line. The poke starting to work out for Ultra Prime though, and that's the scary part.
Yeah, this game is very tense. I think the 5K gold lead doesn't really tell itself to the state of the game because we saw there, right? The damage Shadow was able to put off on multiple members with this moonfalling by himself. No other member really being able to follow through and get damage on the targets like Elk, like we saw Shadow do. It does seem that Fearness and Yeji were able to find a pick on the opposite side of the fight, though, so ultimately slightly in favor of LGD. Buys more time for Fearness in the side lane, and the side lane is something we haven't hit on all too much, right? Because LGD will have this constant source of pressure coming out from this Camille to get prio through to play through.
A little breakdown of that initial play in the mid lane. Shadow. He goes in, gets a huge moonfall, but look at that damage back on it.
Yeah, and sadly, Yeji wasn't able to combo in there with this Dominus at the same time, right? Because that could have been more kills. Fearness was able to follow up onto Cryin, though, which did lead to 2 kills in the end for the side of LGD. But, yeah, could have been better, could have been worse. I think a nice middle ground is something that LGD is happy with. We're going to take a look at items. Things like Zanya's being up for Shadow now are going to make such a crucial difference when he is the one playing the role as a key engager. Even for the side of Ultra Prime, a lot of key items, 2 items across the board.
Yeah, the 2 items completions, working on the 3rd down there for Elk, but I will say, starting to get some completions along the lines of LGD, right? Working on those 2nd items. We finally have the Lord Doms for Eric on the Jin to actually have some damage against this tankier front line, and I can very much appreciate that.
You know, I also appreciate tanks being killed because that means tanks were picked. And you know what? Even though everyone hates tanks, I think a meta without top lane tanks for a long time, it's kind of old. Give me Sion, give me Ornn, give me Gragas. Screw it. Add Banner Command back to the game.
Oh my god. All right, Lyric, you're getting a little too crazy. All right, all right. We do get first tower for LGD as well as an objective bounty. Shadow catching out Elk. There's double TPs from LGD. This is the fight they want to commit to, and they're going forward with it. The kickback, though, gets Yaji out of the fight. Fearness is here as well. The root not connecting just yet. Nobody is going to be able to put down the damage just yet. We've gotten trades back and forth, but so far in favor of LGD as it's a 4v3 for them.
Just the decisiveness coming out from Shadow. Goes in onto Elk, pulls the trigger immediately. We see the combo there a bit better for the side of LGD, with Yeji instantly able to follow up after the stopwatch was used by Elk. So things for LGD coming more onto point now. Still not able to transition into any type of neutral objective setup. Dragon will be up in 1 minute, though, and I'm sure we're going to see another fight as, you know, Mazel, you don't get to talk, I'm sorry, because the replay coming straight away. Shadow using the Hextech Rocket Belt to get in there. Moonfall buys time, stopwatch having to be used, and bam, this time Yeji able to get in, dish some of this damage out. Sure, he gets bursted, but he makes them blow their cooldowns, allowing Fearness to then follow up with the Hextech Ultimatum, and LGD picking off the Caitlyn, which is the key member.
And I love it because it just seems like the entire team for LGD has bought into Shadow, right? We said from the beginning when we started seeing them fall down, Shadow has to be the ticket. He is one of the main engages. He has to get that Moonfall off for the rest of the combo to unfold. And the last couple times, he has been the driving force. He's like, we are going and we're going now. Get in the truck. And then they go forward. And it's been clawing back this lead to where now it's insignificant. And any fight can go over to LGD if they set it up properly.
We're at the point in time where it is all about the setups coming out or the opportunities you're able to find. Even highlighting Fearness right now, 6-2-2 on the Camille. He is massive. LGD trying to pull Ultra Prime away from bottom side, kind of bluffing and saying, hey, if you go for Dragon, we're going to start up Baron. Ultra Prime, I think, should realize that LGD don't actually have the greatest Baron damage. You can just commit one member, so Ultra Prime finally realizing that now. LGD's bluff is being called. Fearness will go back to a side lane, and maybe you could try and find top tower as a trade.
And I will highlight, just as we saw Cryan solo the Dragon, he is on 3 items now. This Corki is terrifying. And so that's why, you know, we were talking about LGD, love seeing Shadow pulling the trigger, forcing the team to come with him. But on the other side, it's still a very scary task to take down. You have the double marksman comp that is on fire right now. And all LGD are trying to do is find anywhere they can find anything.
The nice thing about LGD's comp is, you know, it takes some finesse, right? Because there does need to be coordination of, like, Moonfall hopefully following up with Yeji being close by as well, and then Curtain Call being opened. But still, at the end of the day, it kind of is like, see hero, go in, kill hero. Even if, again, there's more finesse than that for sure. I'm definitely dumbing it down. Ultra Primes, though, I think is the one that is harder. You don't win out in sides because there's a Camille on the opposite side. You have, if you're going to be fighting for things like dragons, you need Caitlyn Lux to be on first to get those traps set down and try and whittle people out before they are able to walk in. If you catch waves too far forward, we saw last time what Shadow was able to do with that rocket belt. So there's a lot of things you need to keep track of as Ultra Prime to not walk too far forward.
Ultra Prime right now setting up around the Baron pit, just getting the vision
Hex
down.
gates, baby.
I
Hex gates.
The flanks are real here, and that's exactly what you need for LGD. We've seen Shadow able to catch out members of Ultra Prime in transition. Let's see if that's so this time, as they're setting up on opposite sides of the map a little bit. We'll see as Fearness and Shadow make their way potentially for a mid lane gank as the rest of Ultra Prime come in.
I want to highlight, though, that Elk is on 3 items. He is massive right now, finally having the IE as well, so we should be able to hit like a truck onto these squishier members on the side of LGD. So we're keeping our eyes on Elk for their side, Shadow for the side of LGD.
Eric had to blow the Gale Force. That is huge as follow-up for the Jhin combo, and LGD just seemed to be pulled apart from their mid lane play. Ultra Prime able to take advantage.
Yeah, Ultra Prime going to slowly push their way up in mid, try and push this wave in even sooner. They can then maybe pivot up towards top and threaten things like potential Baron baits coming out. We're still a long ways off from a Dragon, so bot side not meaning too much other than the fact that Ultra Prime will need to send someone to catch that bottom wave soon.
A little bit of A-ramming going down here as Eric takes an ace in the hole. And, oh my goodness, there's that 3-item spike. Cryan buries 1 rocket into 2 double members of LGD.
Still won't be able to find anything off of it, and Fearness was able to push out this wave in bot, maybe deny a few minions. ZS will be here, though. Fearness is 2 levels up at this point in time. He's so strong. Looks like he's going to push Fearness away just because Fearness doesn't know where some of the other members of Ultra Prime are. So, not safe to stay. Could be a 2v1, a 3v1. He doesn't know. But if he had courage and he was crazy, he could have all in. It would have been a 1v1. But
That's what you really wanted, didn't you? I just know you're begging for it, but not gonna happen this time. All right, we are getting resets coming out just so that people can make sure they spend all that wonderful gold they've gotten. But especially, as we've said, is so key, set up on the map for the next objective. Right? Yes, you do still have a little while, about 1:40 for the next dragon, but it is a soul dragon of the Hextech soul for Ultra Prime, so it is a do or die fight for LGD.
It is a buffed static shift for Caitlyn. That is what we
There's
want.
Shadow. The trigger pull again. He has nobody with him, though, but there goes Fearness. They have split focus. The curtain call, not able to do much. LGD are getting picked apart here, and now the final spark will initiate. Ultra Prime going forward. There's the kick back into the members, and Ultra Prime just does not give up, but they will be forced to back away from that fight after having utilized so many abilities.
Overall, it's good for them, though. They got the kill. They wait out the dominance. They walk to Baron. They can start getting these traps set down as we are seeing now.
The double marksman.
And sure, could be a 50-50, though. Shadow does have Smite available. We're going to be looking at Zetas to try and keep them out of the pit, or at least, use that body slam at a key moment.
All right, let's see. Shadow gets engaged on over the wall, and that's the beauty of the mobility that Ultra Prime have. The jungler is down. The Baron going to go to Ultra Prime, and they can snowball this fight into even more.
Ultra Prime now have Baron. Dragon is up in less than 30 seconds. This would be soul for them. Shadow won't even be up when that Dragon's coming up. And my God, Ultra Prime might even find more kills before this happens. Looks like Yeji will be able to get away, but still kills. Baron, you're going to get Hextech Soul. It would take more than a miracle for LGD to win now. It would take 3.5 miracles and Santa to be real. Wait,
And
Santa? Is
Santa?
real.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you doing, all right, man? You need to calm down over there. Santa's going to have some work. But it was so promising, right? We saw those trigger pulls from Shadow. It looked like they were starting to become a comeback, that confidence building in LGD. But this fight just seemingly destroyed all of that.
I just don't like how quick LGD were to pull the trigger on this kind of play where it's like, okay, we're just going to go on the first person we see. The first person we see shall see, go in. You don't know where the other members are. There's only 2 of you there. The rest of your team's walking in from base. Be more patient. Get deep vision down. Try and find that flank for the dragon fight that's going to come up. Or whether it is in transition before, wait for the other members to come through. I feel like they were a little too quick to do it in that scenario. Feeling the pressure from the fact that Ultra Prime were on soul point.
Fearness needs to get back. The package used, and this could just be it. Yet the GA popped by Crying. They are still moving forward. The ace in the hole is there. The final spark as well. They're just pulling their ultimates. They're just pressing the R buttons right now. And that's all you need to do when you're in this kind of position. The minions are so dang strong. The rockets are too powerful. There's the moonfall back. Is this the turnaround for LGD? They can't do it. If they get the one back, that's 4 versus 3, and now it's starting to become uneven. Ultra Prime will wipe LGD away. They will claim their first series win of the LPL 2022 Spring Split.
And very well deserved going over to Ultra Prime. I think they did look like the better team overall. LGD coming out with a good draft in Game 2. And again, some decent play was able to give them a win, but I think Ultra Prime's coordination is there. We know their bot lane's 2v2 laning phase has been incredibly strong so far in the LPL. I think their idea of what to do on the map just overall was better, typically being in the right place at the right time. So we're on the opposite side for LGD. We hit on, like, it was super cool how proactive and aggressive Shadow was willing to play. But a lot of the times, the plays we were looking for, it's like he wasn't looking at where other players on the map were, or maybe in comms you're talking about, hey, still just go in, but a lot of it was not coordinated. A lot of it was just like, hey, individually, one by one going in. Not just in that last game, in that last clip we did see, but if you remember Game 1, that was the problem as well when he's on the Zinzao trying to walk into bot side river. So ultimately, still a lot of things for LGD to shore up.
Yeah.
It does seem like there are pieces here to work with. ZS overall, I think, having a decent game, especially in that last game.
Well, and for me, it's seeing the style we know they kind of want to go for in building around Shadow and keeping this jungler for another year and trying to continue to cultivate his talent. And the fact that you still see, the decision making coming off the back of Shadow going in or trying to go for those engages. And I think it shows a little bit of the structure behind the team. It's just trying to get everybody on the same page. Shadow can't be the one calling and just hoping that everybody is with him. And we'll see as the season goes on if that does develop. But my goodness, there's a couple things I would say maybe needed to get banned away this series, and Crying's Corky is one of them.
Yeah, I'm happy to move on from the LGD point myself. Thank you, my friend. Is Crying and Elk, like you said, coming in strong. I think Elk and Shousey overall just phenomenal laning phase as always.
Yeah.
Crying definitely being the man to step up with a lot of the damage he was able to do later on. Ultra Prime, though, I do want to call him out for that aggressive pick they look for in topside around Baron, where they use the package. Lyric, not a huge fan of that one. And like you said, for ZS, I think it was in game 2, where it's like, hey, ZS is consistently looking for these aggressive engages. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really agree with the philosophy wholeheartedly, but if you are constantly looking to use your explosive cast, you are going to find some sick engages. And he did. Praise, shout out to ZS.
Yeah, that Gragas was so key, and that's something I maybe we should dive into a little bit more, is like the comfort picks that were prevalent for Ultra Prime throughout the series, right? Picking the Gragas 3 times consecutively, picking the Corky 3 times consecutively. These are obviously core pieces to strategies that Ultra Prime feel confident with, feel comfortable with, building around. And I find that so interesting.
So what you're saying is, it's interesting that Ultra Prime's comfort champions are also the OP champions on this patch. Corky, Caitlyn, Gragas fighting his way back. Disgusting. Actually, I love Gragas. Just hitting on it a bit more, right? I think it's really cool when you can lean on a champion like this that neutralizes so many different matchups. Wins some matchups, and sure, there are lanes you lose, but like losing for Gragas is usually typically like I get pushed in, maybe I get zoned in off some waves when like a jungler hovers over, but I'm probably not gonna die unless I'm horrible. So I think it's really cool how flexible this pick is in terms of draft, and how it does work as either an engager or a disengager and sets up for these long range comps. We also could play a few different ways.
Yeah, and that's what I love the most, and dive into the point even more, but like as the Gragas, yes, we've seen Gragases who get behind. It's not fun. They aren't very useful, but they still have that wow factor, that instant game-changing factor, especially in big team fights in the late game, right? The cast comes out, completely separates a fight. You have that tankiness as a front line. There's just so, as you said, so many ways to play the pick, and for Ultra Prime, definitely seems like something they'll move forward with for sure.
And now we need to think what else Ultra Prime will move forward with. Because like you said,
Caitlyn.
Ultra Prime today picking up their first win. We look, though, Mazel, to the schedule. The godly LPL schedule, their next match. Their next match is on Tuesday. It's up against Invictus Gaming. That is another winnable game. That is another game where, heck, might even be considered favorites, honestly. I think Ultra Prime and IG's level of play looking very similar. So maybe Ultra Prime can start making their way up now that some of their harder matchups are out of the way.
That's what you're hoping, right? But you have a couple days of rest. You have a little bit of time. Get ready for that series. But that is one where I'm expecting them to kind of put their foot down, right? Especially coming off a series like this. Yes, it was contested. Yes, it did go to 3 games. But they've got to continue to push forward with the momentum they've got. I do hear it. We are ready for our interview. So we're going to go ahead and send it over to Sam and Crying.
Hello guys, we invite the mid laner Crying from Ultra Prime. First, congratulations on your first win in this split, and it is a tough win. So I have several questions for you. And first is about adjustment after the losses you have experienced in this split. And so what kind of growth or improvement did you try to make? 那么首先恭喜你们今天也是拿到了你们的赛季首胜。想要问一下 Crying 选手，在接连的经历了这些失利之后，你们是怎么样去做调整，以及团队有哪些进步？
我觉得前几场失利，其实我们队伍打得也不算太差吧，然后可能真的是因为对手打得比我们更好一些嘛。然后调整的话，我就觉得我们在连输的时候，心态啊、氛围各方面都保持的挺好的，然后也是抱着能赢的心态 和理念一直打下去的。
So I think in the first several games, I don't think that we played that bad, but the enemy team they just play better. So we try to keep a quite good momentum and then win this game. And the second question is about game one because the enemy team they pick Echo as their last pick and a counter pick in the mid lane. So did you expect the pick of Echo and what kind of strategy for you guys to target on him？那么第一局比赛对面也使用了艾克这个英雄作为他们的最后一手选择，想要问一下你们是否有预料到对面的这个选择，以及你们是在怎么样在局内去对艾克做针对的呢？
嗯，赛前没有预料到过会选艾克嘛，然后选出来的时候，我觉得这是一个非常糟糕的选择，然后我会觉得这场游戏不会赢得很艰难。
So actually, we didn't expect the enemy team to pick Echo, and I think if he pick Echo, we can win this game easily. And the third question is about game three because there is a very explosive uh, level one team fight. So did you expect this team fight there around the bottom lane？那么第三局比赛一上来，其实有一个很激烈的一级团，想要问一下你们当时有没有预料到这个一级团的发生，以及你们是怎么样去做应对的？
是有过预料的，因为我们一开局就说要去下路那个草丛抢一个眼位，然后因为下路这种对局的话，时常会发生这种情况嘛，所以就碰撞起来。
So we expected because we think the world and the weeds of the bottom lane is quite important in this game. So we just try to find this engagement in level one. And the last question is about the enemy team. They try to make some overturn in the mid game of game three because they've got the hard engagement of Camille and Diana. So you've lost several team fights there. What kind of team communication did you do after the losses of those team fights？那么其实，在第三局的中期，你们打的也一度很艰难，因为对面用卡米尔和皎月的强开，其实有几次开到了你们的 AD。那想要问一下，当时那几波团战之后，你们是怎么样去做沟通，然后最后赢下这场比赛的？
第三场其实我们前中期节奏都是挺好的，然后我有一波炸药包比较上头的飞进去，就导致我们后面的节奏就断档嘛，然后队伍也有一点小小的迷茫，所以说后面也是因为对方的开团确实有几波打得很不错，但我们的沟通就是只需要等龙魂，我们双 C 看着双 C 打的话，还是很好赢下游戏的。
So at that time, I think our early tempo was very good, but in the mid game, yes, the enemy team they just try to find some good engagement on us, and we think that we can wait for the Drake Soul and protect our two carries like Corky and Elk, and then we can win this game easily. And thank you for joining us in the interview. 再一次感谢 Crying 选手来接受我们的采访。Back to you guys. Bye bye.
拜拜。